Hi, this is János, and this is my third episode of sharing my Canon 5D Classic experience. And so I shared so far the unboxing, and without the help of the cats. You see, I have their toys here, the seal and the narwhal, and but they're still not coming. And the camera, for some reason, keeps on focusing onto the eyes of the seal. The baby seal is more interesting than I am, for sure. So, basically, as I shared with you, my old camera was the Canon 20D, which looks and feels exactly as the 5D Classic, and to such a degree that you might even just mix up the two for each other. So if you don't look at them carefully, they look exactly the same. And yes, there are differences, minor differences, but if you don't pay attention, you can grab one thinking you have grabbed the other. They are so close, and their button layout is exactly the same. So if you, for example, you already have the 20D and you are thinking about changing to another camera, you want maybe like a tiny bit more megapixels, because this is 8 megapixels, roughly 8.2, and the 5D Classics is 12.8. Yeah, you got 50% more pixels. Not that much, but when it's about 8 megapixels, then 12 is a noticeable step up, actually. And you want better low light ability, and but you don't want to relearn a new camera. So it's kind of like, if you go from the 20D and let's say you get a Sony R5 or something like that, of course it will be phenomenal, fantastic, provided you maybe like you sell your car or something. But it will have like a totally different menu system, and what I noticed that when people are used to a certain camera brand, each of them have their own menu system and their own logic. And I'm not familiar with any other camera system than Canon. I've been using like several Canon cameras, and if after I learned the 20D, actually the first one I had was the Canon PowerShot 820, and once you learn like the most basic power shot, even these DSLRs and the mirrorless I'm shooting on have just about virtually the same menu system. Of course, the menu system of this mirrorless is much deeper than the Canon 820 was 20 years ago, but it's the same thing. And once you are familiar with one, then it's just a short period of adaptation to get used to a different Canon camera. Of course, I think what just really blows my mind is that like Canon, when they keep on like this is the 5D Classic, and when they reissue the 5D Mark II, Mark III, Mark IV, they just keep on reshuffling the buttons, and when they have like the Rebel, it looks totally the same as this, but buttons are totally all around the place, and every camera they have, they shuffle the buttons around. It's just like you're used to one and you think you are changing the ISO and it's doing something completely different. And of course you can program them and then just change the buttons, swap the buttons, but it's just really annoying. So if you just grab a camera, one or the other, you cannot just grab one or the other. You have to spend first an afternoon, a whole afternoon, to completely reprogram the camera, and then you can of course shoot it, but you cannot just grab one and start shooting, because you have to adapt the buttons. However, you can adapt the buttons. If you know one, then you know all of them. But I have heard from Nikon users that they are just unable to get by with the Canon menu system. They just don't understand it and can't find anything. But the same is true vice versa. And I think what I've heard of Nikon, I have zero experience with Nikon, but they have much less consistency between models on the menu systems. If you have Nikon or you are a Nikon user, please put it down in the comments. I'm very much curious how the Nikon menu systems are, and how much of an overlap there is between Nikon and Canon, because to be honest, I just really I love the way that Nikon images and the color science of the classic Nikon cameras, such as the D700, D300, D3, they just produce phenomenal images. Even the D90, which is the baby DSLR, crop sensor DSLR, kind of similar to the Canon 20D, but quite a lot more capable, a lot better low light ISO and much better focusing system of what I heard. I did not use it. I am now just with this Nikon story, I'm just regurgitating what I heard on YouTube, what other channels are saying, what other users are saying, and I'm just thinking and dreaming about it because I found those images they produce, they are just beautiful and gorgeous, and I really keep an open eye, open mind about it, and maybe if in the future I can get one of them, I'd be totally happy with the D90, D70, D300, D700, D850. If one would throw a D850 at me, I would just grab it and shoot with it. So yeah, that would be fantastic. Anyway, I think I'm not in danger of that anytime soon. So I'm just stick to talking about my Canons here, and the best thing about them is really the price. So if you're looking for one, the 20D is virtually free, like $40-50 on eBay you can get one, and the 5D Classic is much more expensive. It's a whopping about $200 you can get one, but it also depends where you are in the world. Probably if you can comment, I get it half the price, you say, I get it twice the price, you say, but in many places, actually here in the United States, those are the prices that they can be had for. I have to admit that I had this for $230 with shipping from Japan, and it's in pristine condition, and this is an early 5D Classic, so not a late edition. This is one of the early series, and I think we have an assistant here, Kintaro. You feel the vibrations? He is scratching the camera stand with his chin. So let me grab the big boy. So yeah, I wanted to engage him for the and Machi for the unboxing, but it didn't work. But now I think he woke up and he's a little bit bored. And actually, when he was a young boy, he was mortally afraid of cameras. So when I had Andy, our photographer friend, she's Lily Koi Photography, and she took photos of these ones when they were young. So and Kintaro was so afraid of the camera that he was hiding. He went into hiding. He was like scared, like really scared. But look at him. He's a giant male. He's a huge cat. He's one of the strongest cats I ever saw, and he was just terrified of the camera. So when it started to focus, and I think like the ultrasonic sound, the USM motor kicked in, he was just went into flight mode, total flight mode. But the other, Machiko, she was like a model. She is a born model. She knows when you are taking photos of her, and she poses. Unbelievable. So where was I? About the pricing of these cameras. So I hear stories on YouTube and people that you can maybe get a 5D Classic for $50, $100, etc. But usually they are extremely beat up. But if it works, fine. But I think I just lucked out on this one. It's just like looks like brand new out of the box. It's just amazing. And of course I had a lot of adventures with it, and that's why I made these videos, because I want to share about these adventures. So I'm now rewinding it to the point when I'm still deciding why to get a camera and which camera to get to replace my beloved 20D, which I loved using very much, but it doesn't work anymore. And then the definitive videos I've seen and a definitive channel I've seen was Martin Kastein's channel. He's a photographer in the UK and he's a pro photographer. That's what he does for a living, and he doesn't do camera reviews. He talks a lot about camera gear and photography because he's a photographer, but not from a standpoint of a reviewer or get statistics or whatnot, but he shares his user experience. And in his videos, the two most recommended cameras were the Canon 6D Mark I and the 5D Mark I, which is the 5D Classic, this one. And thank you, Martin, because it was based on your videos, your recommendations, that I finally decided to get the 5D Classic. And I was really deciding between those two cameras, the 6D Mark I and the 5D Mark I. And Martin was saying that these two are the ones that have the closest color science to each other. So the way the photos look are the closest. And he was showing his photographs with these two cameras that he took. And actually I slightly favor the 5D Classic files, the 5D Classic photos that he shared. The look of those photos, the impression that it creates in me by looking at those images that the camera captured. And also when I looked at them, I realized that they look just exactly as the 20D pictures, and that was something like a huge plus for me. Okay, so basically I can have the continuation of my 20D experience and even more, because at that point I was still deciding between 6D Mark I and 5D Classic, and the decision factor for me was that with the 6D Mark I can use the same batteries that I use for the 20D, and what else? Same memory card as well, because I think the 6D Mark I already uses SD cards, right? And I can also use this is a flash, a trigger, not flash, like a remote release that can be like hardwired into the 20D. I can hardwire it into the 5D Classic as well. I don't know, maybe you can hardwire it to the 6D Mark I, I haven't looked into it, but my number one concern was really about the battery and the battery charger, because although this poor guy is dead, but its battery still works after 15-20 years. It's insane. And I have a charger, and when I found this new 5D Classic, they gave a battery with it and a charger. So now I have two chargers and two batteries. So that I found really helpful, versus like getting like a new charger, new kind of setup, etc. So I was really up for like what I have. I rather use than toss it out or just put it up on eBay for $5 sales and just waste time with all of that kerfuffle of putting it on, shipping, whatnot. And I'm not really big on just getting rid of stuff. So what I have, I do a lot of research about it, and I enjoy it for a long time, and I treat them very, very kindly. I don't treat it as a stupid object that you can bang on and just treat badly. I treat them as good as if I would treat children or pets, basically. So that was my main choice why I decided between the 6D and 5D is, number one, I can reuse the battery and the battery charger. Number two, exact same button layout. That was perfect for me. And also the 5D Classic has already a little bit better low light ISO, but Martin warned me that the 6D Mark I is much better with low light, and I have disregarded his advice, and I think I paid for it dearly, because for a long time, the longest time, I really thought I made the wrong choice, because I make a lot of photos indoors as well, try to like shoot the cats and, you know, take photos of my stereo gear, etc. And it did not really work out. And I just found out recently that it was not because of the camera, it was because of the lenses. But it took me almost a year to find that out and suffer and constantly think that, dang, I should have bought the 6D Classic. So right now, my little ending for this episode is that basically I think it was really a fantastic thing to get the 5D Classic. I am 100% happy with its color science, how the photos look like. I think what I'm seeing, and I'm seeing it to even a greater degree than I saw with the 20D, is that on the photos I can see the texture. So when I take picture of the cats and I watch it on the screen, it looks exactly like the cat. When I look at the cat, I look at the screen and I look back and forth, and it has the same texture. When I take a shot of the carpet, then through the picture I can tell, I can feel the texture, how it feels to touch the carpet. And such a palpability that is transferred from the image, I mean to the reality, to the image, is just totally off the scale. And I think in that regard it transfers more palpability than the 20D did. So in that aspect it is already a step higher than the 20D. With the 20D the pictures look a little bit more painterly, look a little bit more painted. The 5D Classic is a little bit more realistic, more of a film-like. Than the 20, it's more like a more higher-end film, while the 20D is a mid-level film or something. I'm just coming up with these terminologies now in my head. It doesn't mean anything, just kind of a reference between for my head, or in my head, inside my head. But both of them are really, really beautiful, and what I found is that because of the lenses I used, they did not nail the focus with the 5D Classic, and when that happens, you get the fake impression that the low light ability of the camera is bad. And that's what I've been having for the past half year. And now that I got a really good lens, the lens I'm filming with, it's a Sigma Art 35mm and the f1.4. With that one, even at ISO 3200, the pictures are wonderful. It focuses instantly. It gets the shot, every shot. Not every, there are some misses, but the difference between that and the cheaper Canon lenses I used is just absolutely staggering. It's like I got a new camera, kind of like I upgraded from 5D Classic to 6D Mark I in low light ability. So thank you for watching this video. I hope it gave you some pointers about both of these cameras, the 5D Classic and the 20D, and have an amazing day. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.